Hi, I'm Caleb. I'm a cardist, and I'm interviewing other cardists to see how and why they create, so we can learn how to grow as a community. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cardistry Talk. Today, I'm joined by Kevin Ho, really influential member of the community. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, it's Kevin. I've been doing cardistry for about 17 years, so I've seen some shit.
Yeah, so Kevin's been a part of the Virts. He's launching Aerodynamics here with his new brand, Momentum Playing Cards. So he's been doing really awesome things in the community since basically its inception. So you've been a part of it for so long. What are some of the things that you miss about cardistry from the older days?
I feel like in the beginning, when there was a smaller community, it was a lot more tight knit. So everyone would kind of know everyone else, and there weren't really as much cliques and factions as there are these days. Um, I might be part of the problem though, because I think around the time of like the Brooklyn Cardistry Con, when we had like headliners and everything, it started to split like the community into like people who were like headliners versus just like the normal cardists. When earlier on everyone was on kind of the same level and just fighting to get cardistry more visibility up against like say magic, because a lot of early cardistry was like a subset of magic. A lot of cardists were magicians who got into flourishing, and nowadays people just get into cardistry straight away, which is cool. But it feels a bit divided sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely see that, especially like with brand affiliation. Um, but on the other hand of the spectrum, is there anything like about how cardistry currently is now that you think is that you enjoy more than how it was back in the past?
It's a lot easier to learn stuff. Like tutorials come out like from left, right, center all the time. In the beginning, we had like Cap Casino's DVD, Ryan Tudor. There was some DeVoe stuff. There was like Daryl's Encyclopedia of Playing Card Slights, Volume 8, Jeff McBride. And that was kind of it before the Buck Twins came along with the system and the trilogy. And then you had stuff like Paper Cuts and Monument and Genesis afterwards. So I'd say that these days it's a lot easier for people to get into it because there's so much material out there to learn from. Like if you go on YouTube as a beginner and you just stumble across Lotus in Hands channel, you'll see the whole bootcamp series that they have set up, and it's really informative. Then there's like a lot of the dealer's grip stuff is out there as well for people to learn from, and a ton of free stuff too. So I feel like the environment is a lot more conducive for people being able to learn and progress quickly in the cardistry community. So there are a lot of people who have been into cardistry for maybe like 4 or 5 months who are way better than I was when I was into cardistry for like a few years, just because they have better learning resources. So that's one of the things I think is really cool about where we're at right now.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, you got School of Cardistry, just like endless streams of availability for tutorials. Um, a lot of people probably don't even realize that a lot of this information got started with like a lot of DVD sets,
Yeah.
um, and then occasionally a rare book. But it's so easy to share information in the age we are in now.
Oh,
Just
for sure. Yeah.
a couple years later, it's awesome, and I think it's really helped the community grow.
Yeah. Everyone can do Padiddle and Pandora except for me.
Yeah, I know like I don't like learning like the moves that everybody else knows. Like I want to try to make my own stuff. So I don't know a lot of the basic things. Like I don't know how to do padiddle. I don't know how to do like any of those smaller things.
I saw your post. You said you only name your moves after water-based things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it just randomly happened like that. I don't know why. But like the first three or four moves I made, I end up like it was Kraken, Water Slide, something else, and just like, well, I'm just gonna try to do this from now on. Try to relate it to water moves.
Yeah, I found myself naming a lot of my moves, starting with the letters R or S. So there's like repainted, revolver, satellite, snake charmer, silicone. Sick and Twisted Wings of the Mockingbird. Lots of R's and S's. Raccoon is another R word.
I was talking with Caitlin Chen about this too. Like, it's really hard to name things like appropriately because like most cardistry doesn't look like a specific thing, or like, I don't know, you're just kind of randomly naming it something cool.
Yeah,
At
I
least for me.
find for the most part, once people find something that means something meaningful to them, it can kind of capture what their feeling of the move is. Like in music, there's a lot of songs out there, a lot of them with repeat titles. But, you know, people name their songs, they title them after what it means to them. In origami, there's this guy called Robert J. Lang, and he would name his origami pieces after like opuses. So like one fold would be like opus number 47,
Mhm.
another one would be opus 528 or something like that.
I watched the streaming that you did with Matt. Not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
Baudouin.
Ardois. Okay. I hate like I didn't do it before here because your name's pretty easy to pronounce. But like
Yeah,
before a lot of the
pretty,
before the some of the previous interviews, I was like, I got your name right, right? Like I forgot to ask before.
or like Andrew Sia.
In that stream, really early on, you showcased a kind of weird thing that got created at one jam where y'all wanted to use.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that actually comes from Scott and Sean Waters, who were like Scott and Sean, really back in the Dan and Dave forum and Technique days, where they
Mhm.
had this thing called nose cut, where you'd have like two cards here, and then you balance another card on top of that, and then like two cards like a house on top of that. So it was like a 5 card face display.
Mhm.
Really ridiculous, but lots of fun. When I was at Brooklyn in 2015 for the con, we went for dinner and I sat across from Dimitri, and Matt was there too, and he just saw us like stuffing cards in all different areas of our faces to see where you could like hang a card or something, or like
Yeah.
put one like here and stuff. Like Dimitri put one in his eye, which is pretty wild. But
Mhm.
as what happens when artists get together, or at least when I get together with artists, we don't discuss anything serious. It's all just a bunch of memes and jokes.
Mhm. Yeah, I was hanging out with Cam Toner from OPC, and like we were trying to do like pirouette on our nose. But what are some really weird moves that you've kind of seen in these late night jams that you might want to comment on?
Um, Probably the funniest one that I've come up with is the first that comes to mind. You can see it in CCC 2016 round 5. It's a video that Zui, Daniel, Shivraj, Matthew, and Sion, I think, made together. So at the end of it, I'm sitting on the floor in shorts, cross-legged, and I put a card into each one of my leg pits. And if you flex your thighs, you can get them to kind of like move like pinball paddles. So like I had those 2 cards in each leg pit, and I'm holding 2 cards in like a pirouette position. So I put them near to the cards in my leg pits, and I just flex, and it hits both of them, and they spin. So that's probably the dumbest thing I've come
Yeah,
up with, but like it had them on the floor laughing, so it was worth it.
you just like I've seen that you describing it remind me of it. I remember when I saw that, like I like legitimately thought it was like a cool move and not just like some weird thing.
That's the number one thing you show to people to show them how cool cardistry is.
Yeah. You show them the XCM where they're playing with their feet.
Oh yeah, there's a
I've
bunch of
seen some
that.
of that.
There's Jerry's foot riffle shuffle, and Loom has a bunch of foot stuff too.
Mhm.
Loom has a video that takes place in the bathroom,
I'm not
and
sure.
he's doing moves with like cards, toilet paper rolls, and toilet paper, and at the end of it, he takes a pack of cards and he dunks it into the toilet bowl. He flushes the toilet, and when he comes out, it's a triangle.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's great. It's still on YouTube somewhere. I think if you search for like XCM in the bathroom, you'll find it.
Mm-hmm. Since I guess we're already kind of on some weird topics, we'll just keep on with that thread. I know you kind of have a small collection of meme decks, and do you ever think there's going to be like a market for that type of a deck? And then also, would you mind showcasing some of them if they're close to you or not?
Yeah, I got them right here in preparation for the interview.
Gotcha. Awesome.
I just sometimes have horrible ideas for cards, and it just cracks me up to get them made because I can't imagine what the people at NPC are thinking when they look at a giant uncut sheet of whatever it is that I've made. There's one I can mention. I'd rather not show it because it's not very family friendly. The faces of it are like this. They come in like a semi-translucent box, and the back design is just a enlarged picture of a certain part of the human body. So that was one of the first ones that I made. Another one is called Jerry's from eBay. So if you order Jerry's from eBay, you expect to get this, right? Pack of Jerry's Nuggets. So these cards are the eBay Jerry's page on cards. So every one of these just has like the eBay page. There's the rare Pepes. I made the box myself and the ink is fading, but it says rare Pepes, do not steal. It's based off of the wonderful Pepe frog from Matt Fury's Boy Club. Back is a 4chan logo. And every card has a different rare Pepe on it. I chose these from a folder of thousands of Pepes to get all the rarest ones.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was about to ask, is if you like individually set it up for each one.
Yeah, lots of rare ones. And the last one, which I hope will actually get made one day if Bicycle lets me, is called Bicycle Widerbacks. So we all know Riderbacks and what they look like. I think I have one regular deck here. Yeah, so this is a Riderback, and this is a Widerback. So all the cards are printed sideways. They're just stretched out like a TV with the wrong resolution or aspect ratio on it. And all the faces are stretched out too. They look really weird. Like, yeah, I've had several people who've seen these in person tell me that it actually made them look physically sick, which I consider an accomplishment. So
yeah, it is kind of distorted look. Yeah, that's weird.
These are just the ones that I had made. There's a bunch of other ones that I won't share what they're about if they ever come out, because it'll be a surprise. But I have documents of hundreds of these kinds of ideas. Probably 90% of them will never get made, but maybe some of them will see the light of day in the future.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to talk about those because, like, I feel like cardistry in general, or playing cards, are always trying to be super serious, and I would just like to see more kind of fun, goofy decks, like the one Caitlin Chen released, and like, I mean, Chicken Nuggets. Yeah, the other ones that I can think of that come to mind.
There's also Alejandro's poop deck. The poop emojis on it. DeVoe released a unicorn deck at one point for April Fools, and then later on he had the Angry Pussies deck. That was also another April Fools deck. Kevin Carlson has 2 meme decks as well. Very, very dank meme decks that he made a couple of years ago. Let me see if there's anything else. There's Daniel Madison's Blanks, which is an idea that I had a long, long time ago after Black Tiger came out, but he beat me to it. Oh, and Jaspys's Favorite Day deck, right?
Yeah.
Jaspys is a really good troll when it comes to it. Like, there's the tutorial that he released for Fuck Physics. So he teaches it in the first part of the video, and then after that he's like, just kidding, that's not how it's done. Here's how it's done. And he shows a second way, and he's like, no, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. And this happens like 4 or 5 times in the video, where he gives all these false solutions, and each one gets more and more ridiculous. There's even like a satanic ritual in the video, which is like not something you can't say about most cardistry tutorials.
I don't think you could say that about any. I'll have to look that up. That sounds funny.
Yeah, I don't know where. Well, I've heard it got re-uploaded by a certain YouTuber, but I'm not sure. You'll have to check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it was free on his website for a while. That's where I got it.
Being like one of the earliest adopters and then becoming part of the Virts, is there any story that kind of sticks out about you and the gang as like a standout moment?
So if I'm talking about cardistry stuff, I think that visiting the USPC with them was really surreal. We got to see where all the cards get made and talk to the people in charge. You know, like traveling with them to like New York, Berlin, and Italy was fun as well. I You can see this at the beginning of Berlin and beyond, I think, but I had been going to like Scandinavia after Berlin, and it wasn't my plan to do this, but I was going to be in Sweden for a bit, but I decided to take a stop by in Denmark because that's where the Virts were, because I was traveling separate from them. So I contacted David Peterson for their address and found my way to where they were staying. And just as I was entering the locale, I heard Darren laughing outside. So I walk out and I'm like, "Hey, you guys!" They're like, how the hell did you like find us in this country at this exact moment when we were leaving the establishment, the Airbnb or whatever?" So it was a very nice surprise, and I love these guys, so it's always nice to chill with them. Um, Unrelated to cards, there was a time when we were at a hotel in like Malaysia, I think Kuching probably, and before we left the hotel room to go back to Singapore, we took a blanket and we rolled it up into like what looked like a mummified person. So it looks like there's a blanket wrapped around a person in the middle of the bed, and then we just put like a couple coins where the eyes were, so it looked like a dead body, and then we just left. So probably some cleaning lady got a shock walking into the room. But yeah, lots of good memories with those guys. They're fantastic. One year they got me a birthday cake for my birthday, and it said "Happy Birthday, Kelvin" on it. They know how much I hate whenever Starbucks gets my name wrong and all that. So it was very cheeky, but I laughed really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and winning 2 awards at Cardistry Con. That was dope. We won Deck of the Year and Video of the Year for Liquid Paper.
Yeah, I'm sure those were very exciting. Having so much good experience with the Virts, a lot of people might find it weird to think about stepping away from having a successful role, especially in like artistry where it's such a small thing. Would you kind of want to describe kind of your thoughts about how you left and why?
Yeah, so there's a few reasons why I ended up deciding to leave the group, some of which I won't get into, but one of the main reasons is that I'm not a Singapore citizen, so I'm not actually allowed to like work in Singapore. So after some complicated stuff with documentation, I had to move back to the US.
Mm-hmm.
And also there are some medical reasons as well, and I have better health care over here in Massachusetts. So it was a combination of a few things. I'm still really good friends with them though. Like they're great guys. I just saw them in February earlier this year. We had a fun time just like catching up and laughing around a bunch of stuff. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And the new deck is about to come out too. Which is like both the first time I've been in the dark about a Virtuoso project, which means I don't know what's going on, and I get to be surprised when it comes out. And also the first time I've ever bought a Virtuoso deck, because I've never bought one before this.
Yeah. What did you think about? What do you think about the design?
I'm hoping there's more to it. I was kind of, it was a little strange that the backs didn't have any color. Mm-hmm. So my theory is that it's called Prism because, you know, you remember the cover for Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, where you have like one strand of white light entering the prism, and it splits out into a bunch of different colors on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that the faces of the P1 deck are probably going to be quite colorful in contrast. So that's my prediction. We'll see if that's true in a few months' time once they start going out and becoming available to the public.
Did you see it was an image, I think it got posted on Instagram, but they like took that back design and recolored all the shapes to the previous deck's kind of color schemes?
I did see that. I have it favorited somewhere in my saved folder on Instagram. It's very cool. They took like launch edition, spring, summer 14, 15, 16, and the fall, winter 17s, and like they did the P1 shards on it. Very cool.
Yeah, I really like that. Got me like, I wasn't super pumped up about the deck, but like seeing the hopefully they'll do variations like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Excited.
It'd be really cool.
So talking about decks that are coming out, kind of launched your own Momentum brand, and then you're releasing Aerodynamics here in a couple of days. By the time this goes up, it'll already have been out. But how excited! Oh.
I'm pretty stoked about these. This has been a deck that's been in development for quite some time. There was a period where I just kind of gave up on it, and then with the encouragement of a couple of friends, including Zach Mueller, I decided to give it another go and really work on it this time. So when I started to work on it again, I kind of drew arrows on backs of cards with a ruler and a marker. We have a black card and a red card, but the arrows on the other sides are facing different directions, which means you can have different combinations and pairings with stacked cards to be able to have a variety of different arrows come out in different directions. Because when I showed these to Huron, he said something interesting. He said that the fact that it's a full deck now makes it so you have to learn how to use it. So I know in the trailer, there's a lot of moves that seem to be dependent on like stacking them correctly or having them in a particular order. But really, you can just do any flourish with them, and the arrows themselves will just seem to shift and move around in a very random, chaotic pattern. And sometimes you get lucky and you get to like hit a certain movement that will sync up with the arrows. So it's cool, very fun to play with, and fun to imagine using, and having the arrows be like hints to guide you in certain directions for creating new moves. So I'm just shouting out www.momentum.cards where you can get your Aerodynamics for $12. It used to be $8.95 on the first 2 days, but it's probably going to be, this interview is probably going to come out after that. So
yeah, it will. So first off, I mean, you've had this kind of idea for like three years now. So I just want to congratulate you on completing it. It's genuinely, and I'm not just saying this because you're a guest, like this is genuinely like the most excited I've been for a deck in a while. Because I feel like a lot of releases are just kind of like a new design, whereas this actually has something that you can like play with creatively and like kind of spark creativity and how you create.
Yeah, one of the big things I'm hoping for is for the community to really run with this and show me things that I didn't think were possible with this back design. Like, Go Yang Chan did a video with a couple of moves with the cards, very cool. Mario Lopez also did a couple of cool things with the deck. So I've just sent them a couple of decks to use, and hopefully they'll come up with some really cool stuff with it. And I hope the community does the same too. Really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I feel like people hopefully gravitate towards it. So I love the idea of the cards pointing out where they're already predestined to go. Like obviously you have to stack it for those, but I feel like there's going to be some really awesome like planned out videos that can come about from using the deck. Like we've already seen in the trailer as well.
They kind of took the moves in a completely different direction from the original demo, because in the demo that I did in 2016, there were a lot of isolation kind of moves, and there was like a cascade, like diving board double, looping moves and whatnot. And so they kind of incorporated some of their own isolations, a few cool packet cuts, and some other stunts and displays that work really well with the deck. So I have been thinking about doing like a Aerodynamics demo remastered, where I just do the same demo moves, but with like the new version of the deck. But but maybe that'll be later down the line. I think right now we're just having people focus on the current trailer that just came out a few days ago.
I love Lars' move too on there. I don't know what it's called, but where you have the wheel, the four.
Windmill?
Yeah, windmill. That
Yeah.
looks super good.
Oh, it does. That was one of the first things he sent me when I sent him the cards. Because I think I contacted Lars first, and then I got Kyle on board, and then Kyle recruited Trevor, Matthew, and Aslan.
So yeah.
Good lineup. Good lineup.
Oh, yeah. I mean, can't ask for much of a better lineup than that, really. So, yeah. So, guys, make sure you check that out and snatch them up, assuming they're still available. Do you have are they already made? Do you have a set quantity? Do you know?
There's a set quantity. Some people have asked me about it. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it yet, so I won't comment on it for now. But yeah, they're ready for shipping. Like, there's no pre-order, Kickstarter, whatever. They're just going to be on sale.
Yeah, awesome. That's the one thing I was wondering about too, because I pre-ordered Cardistry Touch's new deck and one other, or the Virtuoso ones, and I'm like,
yeah.
I have no clue when I'm going to get them really.
Yeah, I was happy with this current setup because sometimes when there's a big gap between when you buy something and when you get it, you kind of care less about it once you receive it after a few weeks or a few months. So with this deck, I found that it was really important that people get them as soon as possible so that they still have that excitement and enthusiasm about the cards once they arrive.
Yeah, so that's awesome to know that we'll get them soon. So very cool. How has kind of Steal Like a Cardist been influencing you as a creator, and what are kind of some of the how have you kind of seen the community react to it, and just kind of how's it all been going, I guess?
So I used to run Who Shuffles Like That. I was the editor for the site, the curator, administrator for it. I kind of got the momentum for it going and ran it for about half a year before it just stopped. And I've always wanted to get back into writing because I used to write for my Visual Madness blog back in the days. I had a couple other websites and blogs. And they were I had Civil Disobedience at one point in time, which was fun, where I wrote the article, not magic, but magical, talking about the difference between magic and cardistry and how cardistry, but it can still be a magical thing. And a couple other posts that people seem to like. So my idea with Steal Like a Cardist was to kind of talk about anything and have it be able to be related to cardistry. So there's a post about speed running in video games on the website. There's another one about TikToks. Yeah. There's another one that's about a commercial, because the point with the blog is to inspire people to go out into the world and to look at everything with the potential of incorporating it as inspiration for cardistry. Because a lot of people just sort of stop at the boundaries within the community. So all they're focused on is cardistry alone. But I feel that if you do that, it becomes really narrow-minded, and you're not able to expand because you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So, for example, in the most recent post, 5 books every cardist should read, there's a book about sports, there's one on music, there's one on comic books, there's one on origami, things that people probably would never associate with cardistry. But I break down in each of the bullet points what you can take from them as far as cardistry goes. And it's a very good mindset to have when you're just looking to expand your worldview as an artist. Because I think that there's an imbalance in the way people approach cardistry sometimes, because the word cardist is made out of card and artist, and we see a lot of focus on the cards these days, but not as much focus on the artistry aspect. So Steal Like a Cardist is just my kind of take on my ability to hopefully give back to the community in a way that I might not be able to do with other things at the moment. Because like I don't come up with a lot of moves. It's hard for me, but like there's a lot of people who can do it really well these days. So I found another way to contribute while I can through my writing. I had originally wanted to have a bank of like maybe 10 posts lined up before I launched the site. So I could just have like this big backlog of things I could keep posting while I was writing new stuff. But then Aviv recommended me a book called U Squared. And one of the chapters was called like Start Before You're Ready. And I was like, huh, that's a kind of interesting way to avoid perfectionism or the pitfalls of perfectionism and just kind of get into it and build up steam from the get-go. So the day that I wrote the first article is the same day that I posted it. And it's been like that for almost all the posts on the site. Like it might just be procrastination or just the adrenaline that comes with knowing you have a deadline. But for a while, like every Friday from morning to afternoon, I would spend the day just like drafting out a post and then publishing it later that evening. And the views vary over time, but the most recent one got a lot of hits. I was really happy with that. Hopefully some people checked out some of the books because they're all great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned the kind of taking other aspects of hobbies and things outside of cardistry and kind of trying to integrate them into cardistry. That's something like I play soccer, like outside of cardistry, that's the main thing I do. Or well, it is the main thing I do. So like I've tried to how do I word this? I try to put feet into like most of my moves, and I'm trying to like work on a lot of foot stalls.
Yeah.
So like it's something I don't think we're doing enough because we're so focused on our hands is incorporating other parts of our body.
Right.
Also, I just want to say like I'm super glad that you're doing kind of like a blog and something different than because there's so many limited options for like receiving cardistry as a media. Like there's really like there's Instagram and YouTube is the main two, but there's so many other like ways that we can kind of consume the cardistry and grow with it. So I think it's really unique and awesome that you're doing a blog.
Thank you. Yeah. Another impetus for getting started on the site was I came across the Split Edge, which is like Christopher, I can't remember his surname, but this guy Christopher made a blog called The Split Edge, and it ran for like a little bit before he stopped doing it because I don't think he was getting as many views as he had hoped. And I just found that kind of sad. So I just wanted to write stuff for the blog that maybe even if it didn't get a bunch of hits the first time I posted it, it would still be on the internet forever, so that whenever you wanted to, you could come back to it for reference or inspiration. So yeah, that's one of the other motivations to do the blog, and I appreciate your kind words about it. Like,
yeah, for sure. I've been trying to.
It's very close to my heart.
I'm trying to keep up. I really like the Love at Second Sight one.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Like that's happened to me so many times where I don't really care about something the first time I encounter it. And then later on, after it comes up again and I pay more attention, it starts to become something that really grows on me. And it's not just things, but it happens with people too. You know, like sometimes you have a bad first impression of somebody, but then you realize that they're into the same things that you're into and they have had like similar experiences to you, and you just get to know their backstory, and you find out that they're not just this one-dimensional person, but someone who's multifaceted. A great example of that are the characters in the show Lost, because there's so many instances in Lost where you're like dismissing this person as like just a bad guy or an asshole, and then later on you find out that that's not the case, that everyone has like a rich history, and it affects the way you feel about the characters.
Do you I know you had Biz come on and write an article. Is there any like plans to have other cardists come in and kind of contribute to it as well as a more common thread, or do you think it'll mostly just be you?
We actually already had someone else on the site. Elliot wrote an article
Oh
about
yeah.
how to cut smooth and speedy.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm totally open to other people's contributing to the site. It just has to be something that I can vibe with and feel is informative for people. So Biz does a great job with his interviews because he asks like so many intriguing questions, is really persistent and manages to keep it engaging and interesting the whole way through. Like, yeah, his articles or his interviews are monstrous. They're crazy. The one with Lotus in Hand was great. Same with the Alan Hagen one. Fantastic interviews, and he has a couple more lined up that might not go up so soon because I'm focused on momentum right now.
Hmm.
But when the blog comes back, so will the interviews. So yeah, there's that. And then if anyone else wants to contribute to the site, they can reach me at my email on my Instagram and we talk about it.
Hmm. I think that would be really exciting to see other
Yeah.
people's, like not just one view, multiple people's view in the blog, and especially
Mhm.
with some well-known people. At the end of the show, we usually try to do a rapid question round, which is just kind of what it sounds like. I'll ask a bunch of questions. It might be cardistry related, might not be, and the goal is to try to answer them like as quick as possible.
Yes.
So, are you down for that?
Okay.
All right. So we will just
Yes. This is like the inside the actor studio thing, right?
yeah,
Where
yeah.
like James
Um,
Lipton asks all those questions. Okay.
so I'm gonna get a wheel on my phone that has a bunch of random questions, and I'll just spin it, and we'll start it out. Do you have a favorite band
Okay.
currently?
A favorite band?
Yep.
Yeah, Rat-a-tat,
Favorite movie?
The Matrix.
Uh, okay, this is a mainstay of the show. I don't know why, but toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Good. No one said under yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for someone to say under. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
Okay. If you could add one word to the dictionary, what would it be?
Noise with an O.
Nice. Android or iPhone?
iPhone.
Favorite deck of cards you haven't made?
Um, the air cushioned Aladdin misprints from like 2005.
Retro. If you could have coffee with any Disney character, who would it be?
Genie.
Genie? That's the
Yeah.
second. We got two of those in a row. That's what Nate Lex said.
Nice.
Describe your absolute perfect day.
Oh wow. Wake up on a cloud. Skateboard to a great cafe. Have brunch with a really really hot girl who's also super smart. Um, go to a movie that's really good. Um, and head home, have a good time, go to bed.
Okay. That sounds like a pretty good day. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Um, teleportation.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then there's a second part to this. Would you use it for good or evil?
Good.
Awesome. Do you play video games?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite?
A favorite video game? I'd
Yeah.
say The Beginner's Guide.
Mm.
Same creator of the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, I played that. The beginner's guide. I haven't played the Stanley Parable. A favorite move that you've created?
Wow. I'd probably backdrop, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just become this staple in everyone's vocabulary. So I'm happy to provide that for the community.
Yeah, it's definitely a great like beginner is something you can integrate into everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of it, what is a favorite move that you didn't create or a move that you wish you had created?
Probably Bloom. Bloom's perfect.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll do two more. Do you have a favorite restaurant?
Oh, man. Mm, wow.
There's a lot of options.
I wish I could name a particular sushi place, but I'm just stoked whenever I get good sushi. Maybe if I ever have the chance to go to Jiro's, it would be that. But
Mhm.
I'll just have to say like sushi restaurants in general. I love sushi.
Yeah, it's the work that some people put into that is like it's ridiculous. Um, and then last question we'll go with for this round. What would the title of your autobiography
Oops.
be? Whoops.
Whoops. Whoopsie.
All right. Kevin, thank you for being on the show. At the end, I usually type to kind of like Hot Ones does, roll out the red carpet. Is there anything you want to promote or any last nugget that you would want to give the audience before we kind of head out?
Right. So I've got a deck of cards that we've been talking about, and it's out now. It's called Aerodynamics. You can get it on www.momentum.cards. That's right. It's at a .cards domain. And I have a blog that isn't being updated right now, but there's a backlog of a number of posts that if you're a cardist, you might find interesting. It's steallikeacardist.com, steallikeacardist.com. And yeah, just if you like any of the things that you've read, you can leave a comment on there. I usually respond to them. And if there's anything else that you guys need to know, just hit me up at visualmadness@gmail.com and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Obviously, links to all that stuff is going to be down in the description box for quick access for you guys. Thank you, Kevin, again for being on the show, and I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. See ya.
See you.